All right, yeah. So we just got a massive balance patch for Mortal Shell 2, and I think a lot of you are gonna like this. It has been a excellent change, but this is patch 1 that actually comes with a lot of cool things. This includes some really big economy changes that should help your overall progression. Some enemy and bosses just got their health rebalanced and some of their attacks changed. Weapons also received a massive buff, and then of course Tarstones got some reworking on them, making pretty much everything getting a buff. And then, of course, for all the people who are suffering from crashes and performance, there is an update for that. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Let's dive right into this one. Thank you for being amongst the first to join us at this very start of the adventure for Mortal Shell 2. We're seeing your bug reports and gameplay suggestions, and we'll be rolling out regular updates for both modify existing content and adding new features. While we have a bigger patch in the works, which will be thoroughly tested, we like to make a rapid balance and crash fix patch to bring the experience more in line with the game open beta and our own vision for Mortal Shell 2. Planned future updates will see extensions to popular game features such as night modes, Tarstone, PP items, and more. For now, we hope you're enjoying the game and read on for details for Balance Patch 1. Balance Patch 1 PC patch will be live on PC and coming to PlayStation and Xbox shortly. So starting this off, we got the economy changes. Shell map locations now cost Gloom, and we're refunding any glimpse spent on the Shell maps. Refunded glimpses are found in the Shell Keeper's alcove in the Black Marrow. Find your favorite shells shouldn't cost you the ability to bond with them. Now I want to stop right there before we continue on and talk about this change, because this is easily the best change for the game overall. If you haven't actually been able to play and you just started yesterday, it's actually pretty impossible to level a shell right now. If you get to the point where you have gotten every single glimpse, I think you can level up to 2 or 3 shells in totality. If you got baited into using this to try to find the shells, you actually effectively kind of like ruin your game to some degree. And keep in mind, you can't refund these glimpses on other shells. So if you want to maybe try Teal or try someone else, you actually effectively ruin your game. So this is a much needed change, and I would even argue that they should have included something that lets you refund your current things, maybe a limited amount. But regardless, this is a massive change. The other change we got under economy is gold drops from enemies have been significantly increased. Notably, enemies in the Manmon now drops double the gold. This brings the gold economy more in line with weapon crafting and item discovery. Now, keep in mind, in my current playthrough before this patch, I was constantly starved for money. I was constantly selling everything. I would just literally sit there all day farming for cash to upgrade my weapons. And now they're significantly increasing it and doubling it. So this is a massive, this patch is already amazing in itself. Those 2 changes already made the game much better. Smelting weapons at the Tar Forge cost 75% less Gloom. Our goal with the smelting capabilities was to enable switching weapons without the need to spend hours grinding through new game plus runs. But the Gloom cost was set extraordinarily high, and for those who didn't know, the amount of Gloom you needed to like smelt weapons were insanely high. I think it was like 7,000 to lower some of the weapons when they were anywhere after like I think +6 or something. They were like over 7,000, so it's a ridiculous amount. Again, this is a massively good change. Now, when it comes to enemies and bosses, all enemies featured in the beta were restored to their beta HP values, except the spider, which we want to retain its role as a threatening enemy which doesn't respawn once defeated. Now, I know a lot of people were not necessarily happy about this because they were nerfing some of the bosses. What I would say personally, in my opinion for this, is I don't think this is a bad change. I think this is good. If you promise a product and you give players a product and say, hey, look, this is what you can expect during the beta, and then you change it, it does make the game feel a little bit bad. And if I'm being completely honest, I noticed it immediately. My first day of streaming this, I said, yo, something's off. This feels very different from the beta. And I think this is a good change. This is only going to affect the things within the beta, so it's not really much of anything. But still, I think it gives a better impression of what the product actually was when they displayed it in the beta. So this is actually a good change, even though they are nerfing some of the things. So I think this is fine. Now, for the bosses, the Lost Child base damage has been reduced by 10%, and the max health has been reduced by 15%. I don't feel like this boss was that hard, but I think I was a little over level, so who knows. The Monolith boss damage was base damage was reduced by almost 20%, and his max health was reduced by 10%, and some of the attacks were retimed to be more fair as well, which is great. I do think there's a lot of enemies in this game that has bad, unfair timings, and I think that they're looking at this is a good sign. The general enemies, the cultists with the mace, their max health has been reduced by 21.1. I wonder why they came to that number rather than a flat number. The spiders' general health has been reduced by 33%. The infested stalkers' health has been reduced by 52.4%. I don't feel like I've seen more than one of those in my gameplay, but okay. And then the rusted knaves, their health has been reduced by 20%, and they fixed their detection for their overhead strikes because it was kind of annoying. And yeah, a lot of their halberd guys, they actually have really clunky hits. Now for the weapons, the Great Martyr's Blade attack damage has been increased by a flat 20%, which is pretty big. I do think that weapon's base attack is really wonky, and I think a lot of other weapons do much better damage and it has better attack animation, so this was needed. The Troubadour's loot attack damage was increased by 100%, which I think there's going to be a lot of loot builds coming up soon because that weapon has good AoE, and that's a really big change. The Cage Hystrix and the Treyarch Repeater no longer have a minimum resolve amount required to fire. If you weren't aware, in the previous patch of the game, you need to have a minimum, I believe, was 7 of the caged weapon before you can fire it. No, it was 9. And it will stop at 7, which was really weird. I'm not sure why they went with that design initially, but they're changing it. And they're improving the tracking on the Axanta, the Black Needle, and the Clockwork Scythe light attacks. I already think the Clockwork, I think all those weapons are already actually really amazing, so this is going to make them even more amazing. And then for the seals, guard can now be used while walking, which should make it much better. Now for the Tarstones, the Parasitic Starstone was buffed, the Grudge Stone was buffed, the Bulwark Stone damage reduction was increased significantly, the Cleric Stone was buffed, and the Squall Stone was buffed. Fortunately, I have all of them, so we'll just look at them in game now, just so you can get a good idea of where they were. So we have the Grudge Stone here. The max crit chance, which was at 5 attacks, is still remaining the same. I believe beforehand it was 10 on the earlier level. So this is a buff to the earlier levels of it. So it's 6, 7, and 5 now. 7, 6, and 5 now, instead of like, I believe it was like 10, 8, and like 5 or something like that. It was not really consistent. So this got a really big buff. The Parasitic Stone got doubled. It was 1, 2, and 3. Now it's 2, 4, and 6. I still don't think I would use this item. All this does, it just gives you more health or something when you kill enemies. It's like okay, but I still wouldn't use it. The Cleric Stone is massively buffed, in my opinion. This was, I believe, 20% at the max when you use the heavy finisher, so that's almost doubled, which is pretty big. The Bulwark Stone was, they said this one got the biggest buff, and they are not joking. 70% damage reduction for 4 seconds when you kill something is an absolute insane amount. I still don't think I use it in a support slot, but it's extremely competitive now. For just like general farming and mobbing, you won't die with this active. So this is really nice for night mode, in my opinion. The Squall Stone, this is one I actually have no clue what it was before because it's like a range weapon or something. But yeah, that one got a buff. And yeah, that's pretty much all the items and things that were buffed in the patch. They did say there's going to be some miscellaneous crash fixes, some bug fixes, and some performance updates. I know a lot of you were having like, I think some guy told me he had crashed like 5 times within 3 hours or something when he came by the chat. So I know crashing has been a big problem for a lot of you. So hopefully this patch has fixed it up. But in my opinion, this patch looks absolutely amazing. I think it really was much needed, and I was really hoping for a day 1 patch. Hopefully they can balance some of the Tarstones to be a little bit better, because duality is just straight up better than everything else in the moment if you can like put it on a weapon. But yeah, good patch. I think it's good stuff. I'd like to see what they have. Just remember there's going to be a patch coming in the next coming days, a much bigger one that's well tested, so hopefully we get some good changes. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget to leave a comment, drop a sub, and yeah, just like that guys, I'll see you in the next Mortal Shell 2 video very soon.